Question 3a. Sketch the graph of y equals x minus 1 times 2x minus 3 times 4 minus x. These are factors, and we need to label the points where the graph meets the coordinate axis, that's x-axis and y-axis. There are three factors, which means we can have three roots. So let's do question A. The first root is x minus 1. That's the first factor. And with the first factor, we could rewrite that and set it to 0. Therefore, x equals 1. So that's the first root. The second root will be 2x minus 3. We set that to 0. And that means here we get 2x equals 3. Therefore, x equals 3 over 2. And for the third root, 4 minus x equal to 0. Therefore, x equals 4. Because there are three roots, that's cubic. So they cross the x-axis at 3 points. So all these points, y equals to 0, because that's where they cross the x-axis at y equals to 0. But what about when x is 0? What is y? So when x equals to 0, what is y? So that will give us the intercept on the y-axis. If I put 0 here, and 0 there, and 0 there, what will be left will be, when x is 0, you're going to get y to be equal to minus 1 times minus 3 times 4. All because I put x equals to 0 here, so that's minus 1. X equals to 0 here, that'll be minus 3. X equals to 0 there, that'll be 4. So that will be, then that will give us y to be minus 1 times minus 3 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. So when x is 0, y is 12. So now we can sketch the curve. Okay, so if I label that as 1, and this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's the x-axis. This is the y-axis. So we label that as 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So when x is 0, y is 12. That's the point of interception on the y-axis. When y is 0, x is 1, and x is 1.5, and x is 4. So those are the points when, so this is the equation of x-axis is y equal to 0. And the equation of y-axis is x equal to 0. This graph is negative cubic because if I compare it to cubic equation, y equals ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d, where a equals minus 2 here. So the graph we have will be minus 2x cubed because we've got x times 2x is 2x squared. 2x squared times minus x is minus 2x cubed. So a is going to be minus 2. So it's a negative cubic. And if it's a negative cubic, naturally cubic will start from the third quadrant when you're plotting it. Because it's negative, it's going to start from the second quadrant. So because it's starting from second quadrant, when we sketch the graph, it will be coming from the second quadrant here. And turning there. And then going all the way to meet 4. then way down. And so the coordinates are x is 0, y is 12 here, and here you've got x is 1 and y is 0. Here you've got x is 3 over 2 and y is 0. And here you've got x is 4 and y is 0. And the graph we just sketched is basically y equals x minus 1 to bracket 2x minus 3 to bracket 4 minus x. Question 3b. The graph in part A is translated by the vector 2, 0. And it says, give the equation of the translated graph in its simplest form. So what we need to do is, first of all, write down the f of x. F of x is x minus 1, 2x minus 3, and 4 minus x. But there was a vector translation here, which is 2, 0, colon, and that implies that x, y equals 2, 0. And that implies that x equals 2. So that's what we're saying, because the columns are x, y, and that gives you 2, 0. So x equals 2. So what we want to do is take away minus 2 from both sides. Therefore, x minus 2 equal to 0. So this one is root, and this is factor. So we're translating f of x to f of x minus 2. And that will be equal to, wherever we see x, replace it with x minus 2, x minus 2, x minus 2. So we get x minus 2 minus 1 into bracket 2, open bracket, x minus 2, close bracket, minus 3, close bracket, open bracket, 4 minus x minus 2, and close bracket. So what we need to do here is x minus 3, 2 times x is 2x, so we got 2x, 2 times minus 2 is minus 4, minus 4 and minus 3 is minus 7, 4 minus x plus 2, and now to simplify further, x minus 3, 2x minus 7, so that is 6 minus x. So that is the f of x minus 2. And the translated equation is f of x minus 2 equals x minus 3, 2x minus 7, 6 minus x. Now we need to set for part 3c, we need to sketch the graph here. So because if we are to sketch the graph, these are factors of the graph. We've got 3 factors and it's still cubic. And so what we need to find are the roots. So to find the root, we need to set it to 0. X minus 3 equal to 0, and that implies x equals 3. So that's one root. Second root will be 2x minus 7 equal to 0. Therefore, x equals 7 over 2. That's the second root. And the third root will be 6 minus x equal to 0. Therefore, x equals 6. So those are the roots that I'm going to use to plot. But I also need to find the value of y, or value of f of x when x equals to 0. So when x equals to 0, y will be, or f of 0 will be equal to 0, so that'll be minus 3 times minus 7 times 6. Minus 3 times minus 7 will be plus 21. 21 times 6 is 126. So that's the intercept here. F of 0 is 126. That's the intercept on the y-axis. So the points we need are 3, 3.5, and 6. And the graph itself is negative because so if I times x times 2x would be 2x squared. 2x squared times minus x would be, so that would be minus 2x cubed. So it's a negative, so the curve will be coming from the second quadrant rather than the third. So coming from the second quadrant, going up like that. So that's what we're going to be getting when we sketch it. And that's what we're going to sketch now. So this is the graph. What we're going to sketch is, this is y-axis, and the equation of the y-axis is x equal to 0, and the equation of the x-axis is y equal to 0. Now the points that we need are 3, 3.5, that's 7 over 2, and 6. And the y-intercept is going to be somewhere there. Let's assume that is 1, 2, 6. So to sketch the graph, it will be coming from the y. And that's how you sketch the graph.